Hey, quick note before you get started. I accidentally recorded a video that was too long, so there's going to be two parts. Part one, and then it ends kind of abruptly, and then we'll pick up again with part two. So watch both parts to get my full review. Thanks so much. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jazz, the Ever After Reader, and today I want to do something really exciting, a book review. Actually more of like a book rant. It's If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nowlin. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce her name. Yeah, so it was on my list for a number of years. Finally read it. It was one of the most disappointing books that I read this year. And one of the worst books that I've read like ever. So let me first just give you a summary. The main character is named Autumn. So Autumn and Phineas are childhood friends. This is a like friends, but they like each other, but they don't know kind of thing. It's one of those. So they're friends since they've been children. They're next door neighbors because their moms are best friends and have been since they were kids or something. So then high school rolls around and now all of a sudden they're not friends. It's like a very strained relationship. It's awkward for everybody involved. The thing you have to know about Autumn is she's different. She's really special, and her name is Autumn. It's so cringe. And then what you need to know about Phineas is he's just like the athlete, the popular kid at school, but he's really nice. He doesn't think he's better than other people. Again, cringe. So Autumn hangs out with like the reject kids, the weird kids who don't fit into other cliques. And then Phineas, or she calls him Finny, and then the kids at school call him Finn. So he has like three names, which is kind of annoying. So Finny hangs out with like all the preppy kids, all the athletes. So they're at, the opposite ends of the social hierarchy in high school, right? You can't get any more disparate than that. Each of them ends up dating people in their clique, but then it's clear that they have problems seeing each other date somebody else. And then all of their friends have weird tension about that. There's just a lot of awkwardness in this book. Okay, so spoiler alert. After 4 years of high school, they finally end up together. Yay! We're happy about that. But then, oh no, Finny, poor Finny, dies the day after. Skip forward like a couple weeks, I guess. And then Autumn tries to kill herself. It's terrible, guys. There's a lot going on here in this book. So next section, let's start unpacking all of this because there's a lot here. Okay, so first of all, I want to say, I think like half of it, no, that's too generous. I think part of it is the way that I perceived this book when I put it on my list. I don't know if this was a marketing thing. I don't know if I misread something, but I misunderstood a lot about what this book was supposed to be. First of all, I thought this book was about adults and not high school kids. So already that's a world of difference. Again, that's my fault. It literally says on the back of the book. So something got lost in translation for me. Also, I feel like it was sort of described as a mystery. Pretty much in the beginning that something is going to happen to Finny. I thought either he dies and then in the whole book you're trying to figure out like how that happened, or the other version that I was expecting is that, okay, Finny dies. Yeah, that's that. If he had been with me, then he wouldn't have. So I thought it would maybe be like a jumping back and forth, like, oh, this is us in the version where tragedy strikes, right? Where we're not together. But in this version of us where we are together, this is how things work out, right? Like, that would have been a very interesting book. So the whole rest of the book is her describing the entire high school experience. So it starts first day of high school, and there's a lot of like awkwardness between them. And Autumn writes this off as, I was popular in junior high and I kind of like wasn't his friend anymore. I didn't make that friendship a priority because I was finally popular after being the weird kid in school, like all growing up. But now their roles have reversed, and Autumn is like the awkward one again, not fitting in, and now Finney is the one who's really popular. He made it onto the soccer team. This is America, right? So there's like a big explanation right at the beginning of the book that's like, oh yeah, by the way, in our high school, soccer is a big deal and not football. Like, okay, why does it have to be soccer? I don't know. I mean, I guess it is like that at some schools, right? But like in America, high school football is like a huge deal in almost every high school. So that was like a little annoying, but whatever, right? No, all these things just keep piling up. All of these little things. This is why I hate this book. Okay, moving on. Autumn finds a group of like other misfits with her. One of them is a friend that she had in junior high, and they sit by like these steps that go and they just lead to nowhere. Like there's a couple steps and then it's a grassy field, and that's where they hang out. So there's a lot of things that come up in this book that are like supposed to be symbolic, but they're either missing the mark, or they're just like so obvious that I don't understand the purpose of it being a symbol. Like, just say it at that point, right? So this is one of them. I feel like it's supposed to be like, oh, these steps to nowhere. But in these steps to nowhere, there's freedom, and you don't have the expectations of everybody. And okay, that's fine. So that's where they hang out. She starts dating the guy who's like the leader of the group. His name is Jamie. Then Finney dates one of the cheerleaders. Now, outside of school, they're still next door neighbors. Their moms are best friends, but it's like they're even closer than best friends. It's like they're family. And so they have to like interact outside of school. They're like forced to because of their moms. It's almost like they have these two relationships that you're going back and forth in. And like you can tell Finney just doesn't understand why she doesn't want to be friends with him. Autumn, I don't know. It's like she acts like he should know, but then she's also like, I don't understand what happened between us. So there's a lot of like ambiguity there. There's a lot of time spent on her going over her thoughts about this. And it just feels like fluff because there's nothing productive that comes out of it. Then you start seeing these like cycles, right? As the school years are going on. In the summer, they like kind of get along a little bit more because there's not the pressure of school. In the fall, there's like all of this tension building. And then in the winter, Autumn gets really depressed. It's like a book about her mental health almost. Like it's that prominent. There's no allusions to it in like the cover, in the in the description on the back of the book. This is a mental health book, and there's nothing to clue you in about that. So that was kind of surprising. It's fine. That can be interesting, and I think it can be probably helpful and cathartic for somebody reading through it. I don't feel like this was great though. She goes through like a depression every winter. And she chalks it up to like, oh, I'm just feeling sad because of the sunlight or the lack of sunlight. And like, it's just cold and all the leaves, I don't know, it's not really poetic in the way that it's worded, but trying to be poetic descriptions of all of this stuff. And then her mom, you see, off and on has these depressive episodes as well. And so as she's gotten older, she realizes that, oh, this is like a hereditary thing, and this can be something that can affect me. But she's also in denial that it is slowly happening to her. So that part's sad. You want to see her grow, and you want to see her like overcome this obstacle. Then there's all of the tiara stuff. I hate it. I just hate it. Okay, so her name is Autumn, right? Because she's different. And then she also wears a tiara everywhere. All the time. Every single day. Because she's different. So, I don't know. The tiara thing ends up being a big part of the book, too. And it's like, why is it supposed to symbolize how different she is? We know she's different. We already know she's different. She doesn't have to wear a tiara. And then there's all the stuff with the boyfriend. Okay, he's terrible. Jamie is just awful, okay? So the whole time, he's like, oh, I love you. I care so much about you, blah, blah, blah. And Autumn, like, can't bring herself to really say it. She doesn't feel it. She doesn't feel that way towards him. And he's like really offended by this. But they're like 14. That should be fine. But he's like, no, like, you have to love me. And then she starts comparing it to her parents' relationship, right? So her mom is very present in her life. She's like her big support system. She loves her mom. The dad is there. He's just absentee. Like, for instance, he doesn't notice that she's been wearing tiaras until like 6 months after she's been wearing tiaras every single day. And he's like, oh, when did you start doing that? Why are you wearing a tiara? But she takes cues from that relationship. So she's like, oh, I guess like you're not supposed to have this great romantic feeling towards your spouse. He says he loves me, and he says that he's gonna take care of me. And what more do I want out of a relationship? Or what more could I ask for? So it's like very dysfunctional. Like she doesn't care about her boyfriend like she should, but she's like guilted into being in a relationship with him. He loves me and he tells me that I'm pretty. He tells her that like all the time. So I guess I love him. And like that's about as emotionally attached as she can bring herself to be. The whole time he's like begging to have sex with her, which is very uncomfortable. He finally is like pressuring her so much, and she's like, okay, how about we make a plan? How about after we graduate, that's when it can happen? And he's like, okay, we'll wait till then. Okay, so Autumn really wants to be a writer who lives in New York City and wears turtlenecks and sits in coffee shops all the time. Like, it's really cute and really cliche, right? But that's like her ambition. And her boyfriend is like, no, that's stupid. Yeah, so she feels like she has to follow his advice. And she's like, oh, well, he's going to take care of me. And he loves me. And he tells me that I'm pretty. So I just shouldn't go to college then.